EP631. How's Sarah?
And we're having fun. I'm doing good. My whole body is sore because I climbed a little mountain. And it's so much more fun to do it when you're not on a challenge.
I bet. I can't say I've ever had that experience.
It's so much better when the conditions are in your favor and you've eaten in the morning.
Yeah, and it's optional.
But I will say there is something that
eaten in the morning, and you have water to drink.
Right, water, proper footwear. You can rest. Your partner isn't belittling you as you climb the mountain.
Right.
Which happens to most people. I don't let it happen to me, though.
But your whole body now is sore. Like, what specifically? Your bum, your thighs, all that? Anything up here?
I had my bum for sure. My thighs, like the area right behind your knee, like the sides of my knee. Just, normal stuff that you get from walking around. And it was like after I did like a workout the day before, so maybe that also helps. But the part that was really like the annoying part is as we were going, I was so mad at myself. This was one of those classic feelings about the feeling situations. Because as I was walking, I was trying to carry too much. I had so many things in my hand, and I step out of the garage and step onto uneven ground and roll my ankle. As soon as we're on our way to a big old hike, and then I collapse on the floor, and it's the day my period started, so naturally I start crying.
You didn't.
Because, of course I did, Susie! It's me!
Okay. Wait, were you crying about the pain?
And just being mad that I do this the day, yes, and yeah, and then that I do this. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Okay. I want to be able to. And this is like the first time we're going on like a longer hike, like a serious hike, and it almost feels like, I don't know. Nobody said this was a test, but in my mind, it was like, okay, let's see because listen. My track record after puking every time I bike ride ain't that great.
Right.
I got to show him that I can handle a little cardio and that and also he's never seen the challenge. So the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, we got to watch. Because he was like, do you think that like this, we're going to do this many elevation? Do you think that's okay? Like, it's just try being nice. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
Yeah, please.
Oh, it's steep like that?
Child's play. So you posture, you have this sense like that, please, I got this. And so then when you roll your ankle, you think you're going to be exposed.
Oh my God.
As a fraud.
And then it's going to be like, I'm going to be like Quitter McGee up there on the mountain who's just like, I can't do it. That is my worst nightmare. We were like talking about that on the way up. Like I would rather it take me 2 days than to say I quit.
What do you?
I can't.
What is
anymore.
The analysis of that? Like, how do you explain that?
I don't fucking know. See, this is what I say. We don't know our own thing. I would.
Were you shamed for quitting ever, or like, was that a thing? Because you know how you taught me this.
I think you know what it has to do with is I feel like I was labeled somebody who was lazy for a long time, and I have like a lot to prove. Mm-hmm. It's the same reason. I think Jordan and I talked about this when we had a little, when we were like up all night on the challenge that we won together. We were talking about, we have things to prove. Like people didn't believe either of us. I mean, he doesn't have a hand.
Yeah, right.
So we were like, he's got a lot to prove. I have a lot to prove. And we're like, let's fucking win this for the people who have a lot to prove. So I think that's it, is that it feels like that I was I don't know, that people didn't think that I could. So I'm like, I'll show them.
Yeah.
And then that comes down to like not being believed in a way.
Right. Because you're saying, I
which
can
we know how
do
I feel
this.
About that. Yeah.
And they're saying, well.
And they're like, and I'm like, oh. So, yeah. So, I thought it was fine and I was fine. And wasn't that bad. It was
almost
just
a 14er, you guys. Is that what it was called?
Yeah, good job.
It was almost a 14er. Almost.
Yes. It was like 13,000 whatever feet. And we were like, what? We looked at it, what's the elevation? What? Did we just accidentally do that? We didn't even know. We were just going on a hike.
Did you get short of breath? Like, because you're up so high?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yes, definitely.
Yeah, that would freak me out.
There are certain parts of the climb that are really steep, and you can only take about 20. I can only do about 20, 40 steps, and then I have to like stop and like.
Oh my gosh!
And it's fine. I mean, you're not like it's just you're out of breath because you're hiking up a big old hill. So like it'd be weird if you weren't out of breath, but you definitely have to get used to it, and it's so fun.
It sounds idyllic.
It feels so good,
but
it totally is.
I know how you're obsessed with winter sports, though, and so in comparison to the winter fun that you have, is this like equal? Or it's a little bit lower? Because there's not probably as much adrenaline.
Yeah, there's not as much. It's a different kind. There's not as much adrenaline.
It's more soothing.
But there's more satisfaction and like I feel like because you're pushing through, a term that I learned on our hike, what Eli called the pain tunnel, where you kind of have to go through this tunnel of pain of like, this part. There's a part of any hike or anything that's like, getting to the top of any whatever that is like, oh, this is painful. And we were talking about what are our tools to get through the pain tunnel.
Yeah, what are they? Because I think my tunnel's really big. Or
long.
What
do you use to get through those moments?
I quit, and I'm fine with it. And I don't.
No, we were both saying we use music. So we sing a little song in our head.
Oh.
And like, that's kind of how, or some people have a mantra and they keep going, or they'll say something over and over. But I think we all have this in regular life, that we have these like moments where we have to kind of get through something.
Okay, but not physically.
How do you get through that?
That's different.
Yeah. But physical, your body, I don't know if your body really knows the difference between physical and I mean, it's just a different. If you've been able to survive a lot and been able to get through a lot of emotional pain, I think maybe you can use the similar tools to get through physical pain.
I will have to think about that, because
like laughter is the best medicine. Doesn't matter if you're sick with a broken leg or sick with a broken heart.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking embroider that on a pillow.
Because I was just thinking today about how my superpower is that when I decide to do something, I will do it. Yes. And then I put an asterisk in it next to it in my mind and thought, except for running. That to me feels even when I decide like I'm going to do it, I'm like, that's enough. I don't have that thing. So I wonder whether I.
But you own. I think you could.
Yeah.
I think that if the motivation to finish were there, and there was a desire to achieve whatever goal you set out to achieve, that you could channel that same thing, that you could get yourself through that physical pain if you needed to, and once you did it once, your body, it would be like, oh, I know how to do that. It's really just the first time you do that, where you kind of push through that, go through the little pain tunnel, but physical one.
I think that's what I mean. Mine is not little. It's not a little one.
Okay.
It's a real long one where you're like, wow, will this tunnel ever end?
So like the Alps, where my mom was like, don't hold your breath, guys.
Yeah.
I remember going through it as a kid, and she didn't say that. She did the opposite, where she was like, hey, let's play that game where you hold your breath through the tunnels. And then she's like,
How long is it?
Oh, miles.
Miles of tunnel.
I mean, that's what I think.
That is scary as heck.
Sis, for real.
Yeah.
I don't think little kid me could really comprehend what was happening there.
Right.
They're like, we're going through, like,
how did they build
even that tunnel? Don't you? I feel like that same thing about the London. What's the tunnel from London? The London to Paris or whatever that is.
Underwater.
Yes. Yeah. Like, come on.
Yeah, that seems wrong.
And we're just going to live underwater. Like, why aren't we just live? Like, that's going to be, remember I said 2044. We
better get ready for that.
We know how to, I feel like we know how to go underwater better than we know how to go into space.
Yeah, well, we should quit.
I don't know.
Yeah, at any rate, I don't know. My tunnel's different than yours. But that sounds really nice for you, that you had such a nice hike. How long did it take
Going
you?
Way off topic.
How long?
What?
4 hours?
3.5 hours, I think. for like 6 something miles. 6. It was like a third.
That is insane.
We took some drone shots and we took some. We did like 2,000 feet of elevation.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah, it was really fun.
I thought you were giving me a high five on Zoom. I was like, yeah.
Oh, I can high five. I'll high five you. Yeah, we were doing, but I was like doing like the up. But we'll high five. I like it. I basically just left you hanging. Is what I did. I just did an internet version of
you
hanging
because I thought you were doing it. And I was like, yeah, let's high five.
Let's do it
right now.
Yeah. Good job.
Well, I'm proud of you. That's awesome.
So, yeah, it's fun. Just conquering goals over here, just smashing it. But there was still snow on the ground, which was fun. We were that high. We were high enough to where it's like there's snow.
Yeah, what do you...
Saw some little animals, a yellow-bellied marmot.
Huh?
What?
You must have had to wear layers then.
We did.
Yeah.
Definitely. I wore my bug jacket. I have a bug shirt.
What does that mean?
Protects me from mosquitoes. It's made of some fabric that they can't get through.
I need that.
Oh, I'll get you that.
Oh, my gosh. How do they do it?
Oh, it's the best. I never get bit when I wear it, obviously.
On any part or just where it's covering?
I mean, just where it's covering.
Okay, I'm just checking.
There might be stuff in it, though, that maybe, I don't know. It might be bug repellent. I don't know. But then I wash it, so that seems like,
probably
nothing.
On 4th of July, I was going to be outside, so I put DEET everywhere, except, of course, my face, and I got bit right there. You can kind of see it on Zoom. Oh. I mean, I was just like, the one place I didn't put the DEET.
Right. Well, don't put DEET there. That seems.
Well, I know.
Your house is very buggy.
Well, yeah, we're like
because it's very like foresty.
Yeah,
it's got to be.
I need that
clothes.
though. That sounds great.
Okay, I'm gonna make sure we'll get you a little bug off shirt.
Another thing you should definitely get is the awesome stuff that Kitsch sells, which maybe you guys saw that Kitsch has heatless rollers.
My silk pillow.
Yes, silk pillowcases. They have really great stuff. If you're like a beauty enthusiast, this is for you.
Or a curly-haired gal.
Yes.
This is the stuff to not break your hair.
Right. Because the silk pillowcases protect your hair. Then I can't use heat on my hair because of that tragedy I suffered. Oh. So the heatless rollers are a godsend because then I can still get that volume. That's what I did the other day for the Dixie Chick show. They have eye masks.
Oh, yay.
They have caps. They have shampoo bars, which I love. They're better for the environment. Great for travel. Great for camping.
Hello.
Yes. Bottle free, baby.
I feel like great for kids, too.
Right.
Come on. Use half the bottle.
Exactly. That's exactly right. They have quick dry hair towels, which I love as well. And then hair ties, scrunchies, really cute stuff. You guys will love it. Kitsch is offering you 30% off your entire order at mykitsch.com/braincandy. That's 30% off anything and everything at mykitsch. It's spelled mykitsch.com/braincandy. One more time, mykitsch.com/braincandy for 30% off your order. Really nice stuff.
Whoa. Yes. Well, I have some fun stuff to teach you, more than just, how high I hiked, because that's boring. I read a really interesting article that I really want to hear your take on because, hello, you're like literally the doctor of this. So I read an article about a recent study that was done on celibacy. And they found that there's a biological or evolutionary link to celibacy. They theorize that there is.
Okay.
So in most situations, when you look at something like we have a biological instinct to procreate, that's like it would take something extreme. It would take something like a cultural pressure or a like a religious or societal rule that is part of cooperation that then benefits you in society like that. But people were interested in researching is there more to it?
Okay.
Why would somebody participate in something that was costly to the species?
Right. Okay.
So they looked at Tibetan families and Tibetan monks, and they found that in Tibetan society, about 1 in 7 sons goes off to be a monk at the monastery. And when you look at the genetic lineage and the history of all the families, they studied, I want to say it was something like 530 households in 21 villages. And they found that families where there were older brothers and younger sons, like older brothers that didn't go to the monastery and younger sons that did, the ones that had siblings that went to the monastery ended up having more children.
Okay.
So subtly, these changes are over time. Like we start to think that it's part of a cultural practice, but really, if you look, and most of the time, it's the parents' decision to send their child away. So the parents recognize that I will have more grandchildren. And these are very, very, these are like subtle messages that a group gets over multiple generations that then changes the, I don't know, society or culture to maybe like match what they see. But if you picked up that when one child abstains, there's then more resources for my older child. And when you live in a society where maybe there's like an exchange of goods when somebody gets married, or we're having a lot of children and having a lot of grandchildren is advantageous because it helps you farm
survival.
Run or helps survival, that you're picking up messages about that. And so families where one son was celibate led to more offspring of an older child.
Okay. And you're saying that they're arguing that this is biological rather than just...
Yes, it hints that celibacy can evolve by natural selection. Yep.
That the ones that they pledge to the monkhood are naturally inclined to be celibate already?
That it's more like the family's decision to do that. And when the family decides to send... Because also, like, having offspring doesn't just benefit you; it benefits it benefits everybody. Like we're looking at biological,
evolution
reasons for doing something. Evolution. Like it's not just like, oh, I want some kids. It's like there's something in us that says we need to do that. And even grandparents. That's why grandparents have babies. Like they have that same biological urge that we do. That is in there that makes us become parents.
Yeah.
So that's even in there. So this study showed that monks who remained single, by remaining single, it means there are fewer men competing for marriages in the village. And while all the men in the village may fight or might benefit from one of them becoming monks, a monk's decision does not further his own genetic fitness. Therefore, celibacy shouldn't evolve. But in situations where having a brother who's a monk makes men wealthier, therefore more competitive on the marriage market, religious celibacy can now evolve by natural selection. This is what the article says. While the monk is not having any children, he is helping his brother have more.
I do not get it. That is so crazy. So why don't we think that the reason those brothers have more kids as a result of the monk brother, why don't we think that's just social pressure? Because certainly you're aware, like, my brother's not having any kids, so maybe I need to get busy. Why don't they think that? I'm so fascinated by this idea that they think...
Oh, it shows that parental favoritism, is linked to... Really, I think that's probably what it boils down to, is that parents' favoritism towards one child
Which one
or
do
not
they favor?
In a way, the oldest.
They favor the ones that have kids.
They're sending the youngest one off to better the advantages of the oldest.
Oh.
And this is subtle. This is something
I see what you're saying.
Yes. Maybe that's a long way around.
No, I get it.
Yes.
So you're saying that because they favor these older kids, the younger ones are like sacrificial lambs. So there's greater grandchildren of the ones that...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
The average number of offspring that the older child will have, and it has to be male, that the older, because it didn't work, it wasn't the case for females. But it's almost like that we're still looking at a society where men are more
I thought you were going to say that, because they're often trying to figure out the genetics of homosexuality and just sexuality in general, right? And I remember reading a long time ago that one of the only reliable predictors of homosexuality that they had discovered yet was how many older brothers you had. The more older brothers you had, the greater the likelihood was that you would be gay. You would be a gay man, not... I believe this was all about men.
Yeah.
So I thought you were going to say that similarly, if you had older brothers, you were more likely to be asexual and then inclined to join the monkhood, a monastery.
This didn't work the same, I believe, in situations where the boys chose to be in the monkhood.
That's interesting.
That's the part where it was only ones where it was parental favoritism. Favoritism. And the part that's really interesting about this, that they're like, further research must be done, because it says, and I'm going to read this part of the article. It says, this model could potentially also clarify the evolution of other kinds of parental favoritism in other cultural contexts, such as infanticide.
Right.
A similar framework might explain why female celibates are rare in patriarchal societies, such as Tibet, but more common in societies where women are greater in competition with each other. For example, where they have more inheritance rights, such as parts of Europe.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's
interesting,
totally.
Right?
Where did you read this?
This was in an article or a magazine called... or online something. It was called Down to Earth.
Okay, that's really interesting.
But the link is from, the study was done in the Royal Society proceedings. Oh, yeah, I can't search that. But yeah, it was like and I read it in a few different things. I think it was even on like ifuckinglovescience.com.
Yeah.
IFL.com.
It's kind of like, sometimes we like to flatter ourselves as a species, and we think like we are like we're just...
This is exactly what I was thinking. Go.
We're just animals.
Correct. Yes. That we think that we have created all this stuff, even in things that we put a religious label on, or we look at as. It all boils down to biological urges, doesn't it?
Yes.
Even when we don't, and there's so much that we're doing that we are conditioned to do based on evolutionary advantages or whatevs, that we just chalk up to, like, I don't know, maybe culture. It definitely crosses over, but I just think at the end of the day, we're all just like, it's biology wins.
You know what I learned recently? I was embarrassed to admit, but I always use...
That T-Rexes are carnivores?
Let's talk about that.
Oh, dang it. I should have brought it up. Uh-oh.
You are right. I thought she'll never bring this up, so I'm never going to be able to have this conversation.
Oh, no. Am I wrong? Do I have to eat my words?
That would be so
What if they
great.
were vegetarians?
I wish. That would be like the best thing that could ever happen to me. No. You're right. I'm sure you're right. I didn't even question that. It was that my best friend from growing up, Leah, who I love, the one whose family owned the chocolate factory.
Yes.
She listened to the episode and she left me a voicemail, and she was like saying, I listened to this episode and here's like my thoughts. And she was like sharing them. And it was very funny. It was an audio message, right? So like I'm listening to this. And then I'm trying to think, which episode was it? And I'm like, oh shit, this is the fucking T-Rex one. And I knew that she would know that they were carnivores. Uh-huh. She's into the same shit you're into. And she starts laughing, and she was like, I'm going to have to say I'm on Sarah's side about this.
I didn't see this going this way.
I definitely knew that they were carnivores. And then she like wanted to make me feel like it was okay, because she was like, but like I know how it feels like when you're, on stage or whatever, and like your brain just, and I'm just like, I am going to kill Sarah. And I literally said to Adam, I have got to start editing this shit out, because I can get rid of that. And so here's what I want to say.
But I'm wrong all the time, so it's fine. What? Yeah.
Sarah, let me tell you about Sarah.
Go ahead. I'm the worst.
Here's who Sarah is. No, you're not. I love you. Sarah is the kind of person that when you're playing Trivial Pursuit, if she's reading the card and she knows the answer to the question, she'll be like this. Oh, this is an easy one.
No,
right?
I don't.
Because she
I'm
knows,
trying to get better. I don't anymore. I've worked on it.
Because she knows the answer. She cannot believe anyone else wouldn't know it.
It's I know the worst. It's been years since we played Trivial Pursuit, probably for good cause. And I probably lost those privileges is why. But I'm better now. I'm getting better.
Okay. So just know that is part of it. And then the other part of it is, and any of you watching on Patreon can see, I am writing the show notes, okay? I am watching the timer to see when we need to do an ad. I have the copy to do the ads.
Correct. Basically makes everything happen.
Spinning a lot of plates over here.
So many.
And so sometimes I'm maybe like half listening or not processing everything as much as you would if you were totally focused. And so I make mistakes, okay?
Yes.
And so...
Hey, Al Bundy, Ted Bundy over here. Listen, nobody knows this more than me. I feel you, sister. This is the no judgment zone.
It is not a no judgment zone.
In which case I judge like crazy. And I apologize for this.
So, just briefly in that moment when I'm like, wait, what do they eat again? And she was like... Instead of just being like, oh, they're meat eaters, so they're probably eating fucking buffalo or whatever the hell that there was back then. She'll be like, Suze, didn't you see Jurassic Park?
I know. I'm awful. It's so bad.
No, you're not.
I was equally as awful when Eli and I went toe-to-toe on a sports term that he swore he was right about. I swore I was right about.
Was right?
We went to brunch with his friends. They all agreed with me, and I was right.
That's
and then I
worse.
proceeded to spike the napkin.
Why are you like this?
Why am I like this? What's wrong with me?
I said to Sarah, we were talking, what was this in? Oh, we were doing our live about the All-Stars, and I was saying how the worst trait a person can have is to be a bad winner. And Sarah's like, yeah, I have that problem.
I have that problem. It's better that I lose.
Here's the thing, though.
I'm working on it.
No.
I'm working. I'm not.
You should also, but I need to work on why it would be so upsetting to me that someone would think I was stupid for 1 second. Why that shouldn't bother me that much. I have spent a lot of time thinking about that, though. It's embarrassing. But, you would be like, Suze,
gosh. Don't think about it. I'm the one who should be embarrassed in that situation.
We should both, though. You should work on the winning, and I should work on not being an idiot who's sensitive about dumb stuff.
Yeah, don't worry about what I think.
And Leah. Anyway, what was I saying now? What were we talking about?
It was something about dinosaur. I threw you off. We were talking about celibacy. We were talking about getting things. Sometimes I don't know things. Sometimes I think I ruined it.
Oh, we just said we were talking about how humans are animals. Whatever. I am a carnivore. I'm an omnivore. Okay. Yes. And thankfully, I have Green Chef. For that.
This is my favorite. Oh.
They are so great. They deliver food to your house. Recipes and ingredients. So you can make delicious meals. Yes. It is so great. It saves you so much time. And it's not wasteful. We always say that. But here's what's great specifically about Green Chef, which is that they have vegan options.
Yep.
Keto. Vegetarian. Yeah. And you can mix and match and switch them around.
So I had a really great...
Yeah, they have gluten-free. Mm-hmm.
Like beef patty with a coleslaw with like a slaw and zucchini, and it was so good. And you know when you make a meal and you're like, it's probably going to be okay, and then it's like, oh my God, this is so delicious. And there's nothing better than delicious and healthy.
Yeah, right?
Then I feel good and it tastes good. No, so satisfying.
And you're not spending a bundle. Like every time you eat out, think of how much that is. And you could have steak and butternut squash salad, green pea falafel with tahini. I love a falafel. Sarah loves a falafel too. She loves Mediterranean.
Love Mediterranean plate. Yes.
It's the #1 meal kit for eating well with dinners that work for you, not the other way around. We love it, and they have a deal for you. Let me tell you what it is. Go to greenchef.com/braincandy135 and use code braincandy135 and you get $135 off.
What?
Across 5 boxes, plus free shipping on your first box. Come on! Go to greenchef.com/braincandy135 and use code braincandy135 to get $135 off across 5 boxes, plus free shipping on your first box.
Yes!
Do it! Anyway, so I should never have those feelings, though, because Sarah is the nicest person maybe ever. And so is Leah, frankly. Like, you guys are just way nicer than me. I should never be offended because you never mean anything by it. I
never mean anything. It's a character flaw, though. Like, so even us nice gals.
Wonder why you love winning so much. I know your mom was into competition.
Yeah, she made me win. And I also think it has something to do with my worth being in what I can, like, achievement attached to worth.
Interesting.
And
well, Sarah taught me this. So. This is such a great thing for you guys to know too.
Can't wait for this. What did I teach you?
Just about how we all know this intuitively, but you described it perfectly, which is that every family has currencies, and they're all different. And some families value achievement, like straight A's, or athleticism. Mm-hmm. How strong are you? How fast are you? In my family, it was humor. How funny are you? How quick are you? And usually, whatever that currency is helps form what you value and then what you pursue. Mm-hmm. So probably you're saying in your case, it was like achievement equaled some kind of value.
Yep. Maybe
you got more attention. Maybe you got more praise.
Yep. And it was the label, like and this is so awful because there was just such a contrast between me and my younger brother, Jordan. Like, he was somebody who experienced the world in a physical way. We had to call the fire department because at 2.5 years old, I'm not even kidding, that's how old he was up the tree in the neighbor's yard, like freaking 40 feet up. My mom's like,
that is hideous.
What do I do? It was multiple times on the roof, and surprise, surprise, he's a rock climber, and then had a job being a welder, building rock climbing gyms where he had to hang suspended from the ceiling on things. It's perfect for what he does and enjoys and all this stuff. But he was interacting with his world in that way and didn't care about grades. Didn't care. You couldn't get him to sit still in a classroom, so he got in trouble a bunch in school because he wanted to be outside climbing trees. I was the one who got praised for being studious and being in classroom. So it was she's the one who gets the good grades. Oh, yeah,
because you're right. It can be different for each kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's the smart one. And that became she's my straight A student. Mm-hmm. He's my adventure boy.
Right.
And then we got the labels, and I was like, that's who I am. I'm a straight A student. I could be nothing other than that. And if I am anything less than that, then who am I? And I have to get everything right. And I had to be in the spelling bee, and I had to be on the chest. It's that's it. It's identity.
And then the sore losing, though, that comes from, in addition to wanting to be that, for some reason, other people can't also be that.
No, I don't think I'm a sore loser.
I mean, sore winner.
So, yeah, I was I totally don't mind losing. I'm actually very excited for other people when they win. That's the fun. I'm so stoked that they won.
I misspoke. She is a great loser.
Yeah, that's why I say I should lose everything. When we played, I think we played Goofy Golf, and Lincoln kicked my butt because I'm terrible at that. And it was a great game. Great game.
But for some reason,
I was humbled the whole time, and it's so excited when everybody else would get a hold of it.
I bet you really hate, like, if you win, but it's a tie. Is that, like, the worst? Because you're fine with it?
A rematch.
Oh, we got to fix that problem.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because, there was a time where I played, like, I never lose at memory game, where you have the cards and you flip them over. I don't. Right. But the thing that is not good, is not fair, and I was very upset about, is I played memory game with 3 people when I was on the real world, and the order in which you sit.
Oh, that's true.
Makes all the difference.
Yeah.
And Devin sat next to Bea, who was getting every motherfucking thing wrong. And Devin was like, I fucking got this. It was like she knew she was helping her. And then she beat me. And I was like, oh, no, that is not a win, my friend. And in my mind, I still think about that lose and how, yeah,
because you don't play 3-person memory.
No, that is not a 3-person game.
I just want to add, by the way, I didn't say, it's not like I said T-Rexes are herbivores. I just was like, what do they eat again? Okay.
Right. Listen,
okay, I'm sorry.
You being incorrect is only your concern. People are much more pointy the finger at like a shame.
No, they're not. I think they're like,
my
Suze,
gloaty win.
But I still don't know what they ate. I still don't know what the food was. Like, that's what I was asking.
Other dinosaurs.
Oh, I'm just surprised by that.
Yeah.
They ate other dinosaurs? I feel like that's almost cannibalism.
This is a good point.
Because for real, I was like, what animals are they eating?
Oh, wait, whoa. Now, see, I don't know shit about dinosaurs. This is where we're going to link it to evolution right now and all that. So I assume that a T-Rex and a Brontosaurus can't get it on.
I would assume that too.
Also, they lay eggs, don't they?
I don't want to talk about it. Like, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'm scared.
Because now I'm like, how the fuck do dinosaurs
They do.
procreate?
They have eggs. But I don't want to say that. They're not mammals,
they do.
for Christ's sake.
They're not. We know. Okay.
No, but I'm scared. I'm scared.
No, some of them are.
I have PTSD from Sarah's attack on me.
Well, I'm with you on this one. That's where
No, there were
past
eggs.
Jurassic Park.
There were eggs.
I don't know much.
They're reptiles.
And so, yeah, okay. But then you can't have a Stegosaurus and a T-Rex doing it. So they're different species. So it kind of would be more like a lion eating an antelope.
Oh, they're different species, you're saying.
Yeah. It's like lions taking down an elephant, and they're all eating the elephants.
Okay, that's fine.
T-Rexes are like, come here, little, I don't know, Brontosaurus, and then they're that, and then they have like a dinosaur feeding frenzy.
All right, that's fine. I'll allow it.
We don't know shit about this. Like, I was just reading something that said dinosaurs have feathers, which we talked about before, and that could have been the reason why they... Well, I don't even know. Who knows about
It was a real
shit?
mess, okay, everybody?
A total mess. And you know what? This is funny because I didn't... This is a story that I've had for a long time, and like I'm like, this is just like a little story that I read.
Sorry.
No, not this one. The one I'm about to talk about right now.
Okay.
But this is like a perfect segue because like it has to do with like uncovering, paleontology is like digging up bones. But this was just like a funny little thing I read that there were some recent Roman artifacts that were discovered, and it has a phallic symbol carved, like a dick pic carved in the side. And that was something very common in like if you go and visit the ruins of Pompeii, they have them over the doors. It would like symbolize fertility and good luck. This one is not that, however, because it comes with a graffitied message about the person that basically says, "This guy's shitty."
No! Just like when we break up with a guy and we're like, he had a small dick.
Yes! It was like that! It was like somebody was mad about this dude and drew a dick pic and then wrote his name, and his name was Secundius, and so there was this image, this dick pic that was drawn, and underneath it basically Secundius is shitty.
No!
Yeah, it was like the first graffiti, like bathroom, stall message that was like
Dick Hieroglyphics.
Dick Hieroglyphics. Yes, it was Roman hieroglyphics. Oh. Roman. Yes, Roman.
What would you call it?
No, they're still dicks, but Romans then.
But they're
not
hieroglyphics.
It was along the line of Hadrian's Wall.
Oh my God. In England.
I believe that's where it is, yes.
I guess it goes other.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was like right.
It was an insult
England.
written alongside the recent discovery.
That is crazy. Wow. But makes sense. Like I could see it because like men are the worst.
Man, and they just carved it right inside. Okay, this is actually funny because it's going to also connect me being a sore winner.
Oh, no.
So this is great. I don't know if I've shared this story on here before, but when I was a little kid, I remember I was playing hide and go seek with my brother once. I was probably 5, 6. He was young, maybe who knows, old enough to do this, but young enough to do this.
Yeah.
1, 2 here, you'll get it. So we had a leather chair, this leather.
Yes, I've heard about this.
Chair,
I love it
chair.
so much.
And it was the kind of chair that you could like carve into, and it would like make it look like with your nail, like you could draw on it with your nail, and then if you kind of like
leather,
used some, it was leather, right? But it was very soft. I don't know, like a little kid would do this.
It's buttery leather,
and behind the chair, my mom found a message that said, "Sarah is cool." And then she's like, "Sarah!" And
you're like,
"Did you carve into my chair?" And I was like, "It wasn't me! I did not do that." I passed off on Jordan that like my little brother, who definitely could barely read and write, he was too busy climbing trees, so he wasn't the one writing messages. I wrote, and I tried to blame him, and I wrote, "Sarah is cool," while playing a game of hide and go seek, which is probably me on a high from winning the last round.
No,
totally that.
No, I feel like it's because like when you wait, you get bored, and you're like, "What can I do right now?" ADD. Like
Sarah is cool.
I got to do something.
Maybe that is it. Little kid ADD. I was always doing that. I cut up so many pieces of I got in trouble for cutting up clothing and turning it into other art projects when I was little.
If I'm not mistaken, Sarah's birthday was canceled because of
correct.
She cut up I picture it like a lacy.
You are so good, Susie. You really live inside all my memories now, or my memories live in your head. One of the two. Yes.
Yeah.
Lacy nightie.
And then
nightgown.
Her mom was like, "Your birthday is canceled." And you know how like we would all say stuff like that, or as a parent, like I say stuff all the time that I then don't do. She did it.
My mom followed through on the consequences with that. She was like, "No more Peter Pan birthday party." No, Pinocchio. It was a Pinocchio puppet show birthday party. Canceled.
Are you serious? Pinocchio puppet show would be so good. Like with marionettes?
Yes, correct.
Oh.
This would be so fun. It's fun.
Easy come, easy go.
It made for really good material on the podcast. So,
it did.
It's all worth it in the end.
Long game.
All worth it in the
game.
end. Yeah. Yeah. I still cut up clothes for stuff like that.
You're like, I learned nothing.
I learned nothing. I was thinking, I was actually having that conversation the other day that, sometimes the things, this is the same as my brother climbing the tree. So often the things that we punish kids for are the things that they grow up and excel at.
Yeah.
I got the talks out of turn constantly on my report card every year, and now I have a podcast.
Yeah.
So, and then, a gal who was in my elementary school class who was like, people were like, don't doodle on that, pay attention, you're drawing. She illustrates children's books.
Oh, wow. Well, and yeah, all comedians say they were the class clown.
Yes.
And it's sort of like the thing where when you start dating someone, the thing that attracts you eventually can become like an irritant or worse.
Yes.
Because there's a flip side to every trait, every human trait.
Yeah. It's important to, I read an article once on they called it your shadow self. That for everything there's a shadow side to it. And if you like the part that's in the sun, you have to accept the part that's in the shadow.
About yourself?
And I think that I think it'll help you. you don't have to necessarily accept it. You have to be aware of it,
Yeah.
that it exists, and then kind of work on it. You know, I said for myself, one of the things was, you know, the same thing that makes me quick-witted can also make me really sharp and hurtful in a fight, that I will say the thing that is hurtful. And I remember a time where I said that and I really regretted it afterwards. And it was like, just because I can doesn't mean I should. And so I worked on kind of recognizing that, like, I can have the thoughts but not say them out loud.
We all have those.
As to spare the person.
Yeah. Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So.
Yes. What does the Bible say? That the tongue is like a sword or something?
The tongue is sharper than a sword?
Yes, that's it. It is true, though.
It is. It's, and it's like you can't get the toothpaste back in the tube. Mm-hmm. Once you say those things.
I know.
Yeah.
That is.
And I just knew. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I knew the thing that would hurt the most. That's what I would like use. I don't know. This was years ago. This was with my ex-husband.
Yeah, no.
A long time ago.
No. And you maybe once, what?
One time.
Yeah.
One time. One statement.
Yeah.
And that's it. I'm a fast learner.
But like that is the hardest part when I love someone, because I can win any fight.
But I'll just there's time I'll happily lose. Go ahead, Suze.
No,
you win.
No, I'm just saying that, like, if I love someone, I think to myself, I know what I would say right now, but I will regret that, and I'm not going to. But then you might not have a great argument, and without that special thing you can't say.
I say there's you know, in the learning process, you know, when we're working with relationships with other people, we can't control what other people do, but we can control what we do. And so much of what we do impacts how other people respond and what happens next and blah, blah, blah. And so many times with my clients, I every single client we talk about this with, because they'll come back to me and they'll be like, I knew what to do and I still did the other thing. I'm like, I know, this is part of it. And then guess what? There's going to be this time where you know what the right thing to say is. You're in the moment. You're like, don't say that. Don't say that. And then you're still going to say it. And then as soon as you say it, you're going to be like, fuck, I did it. And that's going to happen for a while, like 3 times. And then maybe. And then there's going to be the moment where it happens before and you're like, oh no, I don't want to do that again. And then you change the behavior. But it's not like you just have the awareness and then don't do it. That magical middle part is, it's the worst part.
Well, but okay. But here's one thing to add about you, which is that, like I said, Sarah's so nice. And you're like, yeah, but like when I win, whatever, like all bets are off. But even when you do that, like the bad winner thing, it is absolutely not to cut the other person down.
Oh, definitely not.
It's 100% just about wanting to feel the joy of winning or whatever.
Oh, correct. I never, and no,
I have
right.
never, ever seen her do anything with the intention of hurting the other person. Ever. And, like, that's almost unheard of. You know, like, we all have flaws and stuff, but that is something I know for sure. Like, your goal is never about, like, hurting a person. No, never.
I can't.
Which is a really lovely thing.
Well, thank you, Sue.
That's true.
For seeing that in me. I really
for
try to
seeing
do that.
that
I
in
care
me.
about people. People are the best.
Now, me, I am definitely trying to hurt
except
people.
that one guy who, you know, we had to do a dick pic of. That guy's shitty.
He's the worst. R.I.P. that guy.
R.I.P. that guy. I don't even know where that article went. I had it somewhere in my notes. It was, what is his name? Secundius, which also sounds like a nutsack anyway.
Yeah, it says his name.
Secundius.
Good. Say his
kind
name.
Of cunty.
Totally. Like, it sounds like a swear.
You know, and you know what you say, Susie? We are our names. So if that was his name, I'd be like, that guy. It just rolls off the tongue.
She should have seen it coming, so to speak.
Shoulda. Okay, I think we have time for one more.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I love this article. Or this study, I guess. There was a new study that was published this week in PLOS1. We've talked about this. I don't know how you say it, +1 or PLOS1, whatever. But we've mentioned this journal before. So I was like, oh, yeah, I don't think I know it. Okay. So this was the first time a large-scale study was ever done on Anal sex preferences and women.
No.
And you might be like, that's a silly thing to study.
I was going to say, our preference is no.
Well, we'll see. Because here's what one of the biggest problems is we have, and we talked about this a few episodes ago. No, not a few, a long time ago. We talked about how even the sexual terms and language that we use for describing things that feel good are male-centric, are centered around male pleasures. We have terms for male pleasure around sex. And the idea for a long time was like anal sex is like for him. It's like, oh, this like treat for them, or that it always had to do with penile penetration. But these researchers were like, in the lesbian community, that's not always true. And sex is not just confined to penetration with the penis. No, sir. And so this study it sampled more than 3,000 U.S. women who were between the ages of 18 and 93. Also 93 years old.
Wow.
Get it, Grandma?
I wouldn't have caught that.
Right. Okay. Still doing it. And they were talking about the specific ways in which anal touch can be pleasurable for them. And we do not have a language, a definite, like a lot of these terms for pleasure for women. And even just a study on knowing like what women enjoy helps. It helps so much. It helps create a language around it. When there's a language around sexual acts, things that feel good to us, then we can communicate what we need in order to feel good. And it makes it so our needs can get met better, and we can changes. It kind of creates a more sex positive society when we have the language to speak about our preferences. And when they did the study, they found out that there's a lot of people who enjoy these kind of things. So we have to kind of rethink what we mean by anal sex first. And, because it really does bring an immediate and specific image to mind. And it's mostly about male and male pleasure. So as we talked about, it's not just confined to penetration with the penis. So they said that there are a whole lot of tricks that we've kind of been missing out on. And they came up with 3 terms that were previously undefined that deal with pleasure for women. And it's anal shallowing, anal surfacing, and anal pairing.
Okay.
And this is an academic study, people. We're talking about this from an academic
get your minds out of the gutter, you perverts.
But also if you want to go home and have a little, you do it. You can now get specific about what you like. So they the researchers even provided like detailed descriptions and diagrams of all this stuff. So, those are always fun to look up on your own time. So anal shallowing refers to penetrative touch just inside the anal opening, no deeper than a fingertip or a knuckle. And it's a technique that 35% of respondents reported enjoying. 1/3.
Wow.
We have so much shame around that, where like women are like, oh, do you like anal sex? And that's the only word that we have for it. So they're like, no, because I don't like that. But then they don't say that 1/3 of them enjoy that.
I bet you, though, when you're talking about language, the words we use when we ask questions and stuff matter. So like if somebody said anal play, I think they would maybe envision more of what you're describing. Yes. And would be more inclined to say, yeah, like that'd be all right, like in the right moment.
Yeah. But how many guys that you're out with say that word?
Right. They would just say the sex, which to me...
Which then makes you think you're going to get off, not me.
Well, that's right.
There you go. But if he said, do you enjoy anal stimming, which is me stimulating you in that way that 1/3 of women like, I might be like, yeah, I do, actually.
Right.
Which then tells me you're interested in my pleasure.
You're right. So the questions tend to be framed heteronormative and also male-centered.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. That's interesting.
Yes. So... what else? Then there's anal surfacing, which is sexual touch on and around the anus, but not in.
Yeah, people
so
like
that's kind of
that.
like playing with your butt.
Yeah, beehole play.
Which 40% of women reported finding that pleasurable.
I can't believe it's not higher.
Right. Yeah, see, this is a very, like, I think these kind of things are important to normalize the things that, and like create a language for women's sexual pleasure that has not existed before, because it gives people permission to, and really this is like the glue of relationships. This is better for, I mean, women who are enjoying sex with their partner and can openly communicate that have, like, it's like better for your immune system. Like, there's all this good stuff that's linked to like a healthy sex life and like women having orgasms and stuff.
Right.
And even just the connection between your partner.
It's good for your soul, mind, and body.
Yeah. Staying curious, like we talked about before.
Yeah.
What was the other word? Anal servicing. Yeah, I talked.
The third one I don't
talked
have.
about that.
I think it's
anal pairing. Which is, they were joking in this article, not an X-rated file sharing technology, but touch on or inside the anus at the same time as vaginal penetration or clitoral touching.
Oh, yeah. I feel like that would be popular. Don't people like that?
40% of women like that. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And they're saying, like, it's more popular than you realize because we're talking about it incorrectly.
Yes. We're talking about, and it by doing research on the things that women enjoy and really understanding the what we're really doing. I mean, sex is like, it's only recently been researched. And we like all the Kinsey studies where they were just like watching people have sex, and that was only one population. Like we really don't, it's only recently that we've been exploring this thing that, as we talked about with the celibacy thing, is biologically ingrained in us and we all participate in some way, but we live in this patriarchal society that kind of speaks about it in a way that benefits men, where we haven't asked women for a billion years, oh, by the way, what do you like? We don't even have a language for it. So by having these studies and discovering kind of like what women enjoy, we then can create a language around it, because in studying it and asking the question, what do you like? They have to create a term for it. So then women they create a term, give a definition, draw a little diagram. This is what it looks like. Women are like, yeah, that. I do like that.
Yeah, that I'll do.
And now they have a language, and then they go out with their partners. Hey, I read about this thing. I like that. I'd like you to do that. And now we know when they're in bed and the guy's like, oh, what would you like me to do? You get to say it. And they want a freaking
they just want a little surfacing.
They just want a little anal surfacing, and you want a little anal pairing, and everybody should just talk about it.
By the way, I remember what I was going to say when I was started on the dinosaur rant, which is that, you know, I was wrong about something that wasn't dinosaurs, which was that I was using the word celibate as a synonym for abstinence. Like not having sex. But celibacy is not being married. And then the implication is like they're not having sex. Like priests.
Right.
They take a vow of celibacy, not abstinence. They agree to.
What a very important
distinction. And
distinction, because my mind put the two in the same category as well.
Yeah, because when you hear celibate, you think just sex. They're not banging, but it refers to not being married.
And that makes it make even more sense with the biology that you're not pairing up with somebody, then leaving more available females for the older male offspring. So you're bettering his chances by not taking like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway, sorry.
Yeah,
that's that.
Yeah. You know, that's
good work, Sarah. Great episode. Even though she took a beating, with my whole diatribe, I just had to get it out.
But it was like compliment, insult, compliment sandwich, because you said so many nice things about me.
It was a total compliment sandwich.
Yeah.
And then the middle part was just me realizing I shouldn't be sensitive. Yes, you're a shitty winner, but I mean, that's not that bad.
The worst. But no, this is news to no one.
Right. Okay, let's wind it down. We learned about pain tunnels, which for Sarah, the solution is to sing a little song. That would never work for my pain tunnel.
And I rub my fingers together like this in a weird way. When I go, and it feels very soothing. And so when I get to a part where I just need to focus on something, I just rub my fingers as I'm hiking, and it kind of focuses my mind. It's almost in a way like fidget spinner, like I use like some sort of.
She's doing an index finger and thumb rub motion, like a circular motion.
Yeah.
That
and I just only I only use it when I'm like gassed out on a hike. Or like on a run.
You and I have different pain levels then, because that would not do the trick. That would not do the trick.
It's a distraction technique.
We learned about parental favoritism and celibacy, and that was fascinating.
Yes.
And shocking.
Which may explain some other types of parental favoritism that we've for a long time looked at. How could people ever do that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Just makes you ask more questions.
We don't know anything about dinosaurs still.
Nothing. Not a thing.
But we do know that for tale as old as time is that when women are aggrieved, they will go right to your dick and insult you where it counts.
Yeah.
And I love
this person was shitty. Dick pic.
And then anal sex. It's more than just the old wham bam thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, more than just for his pleasure. 40% of you guys are enjoying that. And now you have some language to talk about it.
Good work, everybody.
Woo!
We went down a whole journey. It was a whole road. It was cool.
That. Just keep saying hole after the anal sex talk.
Good one. So many holes.
Ah!
All right. Well, can you guys check out our merch? Because we put a lot of time and effort into that. And
we got some cool stuff.
I don't want to just be spitting into the wind over here, okay?
Yeah. Check out those shoots.
Check them out and leave us a 5-star review and tell a friend and subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.